Welcome back to In the Gray Area with REVV Health. I'm Britni.
And I'm Travin.
Longevity isn't just living longer. It is thriving as you age. And in this episode, we're going to unpack how hormones, peptides, and prevention can impact your energy, your strength, your skin, and your immune health. Just a quick note, this is education only, no medical advice.
Seems like we keep coming back to a lot of these same topics, but it's just so important. And it's things that come up all the time, like with our patients and questions that we keep getting over and over. And so I think it's just important to highlight some, kind of come at it from a few different directions. Just kind of talk about what we personally experience and what we see to be beneficial and things that are, again, not so much beneficial.
Yeah. First and foremost, we know hormones decline as we age. Mm-hmm. And typically, I think we all have it in our minds that starts, in our mid 30s. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do see that a lot, but it's crazy that we're seeing so many of the younger generation coming into us with these same issues. And
a lot of, and it's not necessarily the same. It's not age related decline like we've, typically in the past. It's more of these environmental factors and the obesity and all these health challenges that's causing this decline in hormones for the younger generation.
Yeah. Some of the main ones that we're seeing are testosterone's declining.
Mm-hmm. A lot of thyroid issues from, autoimmune conditions. A lot of women have PCOS, young women.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot.
Mm-hmm. We on a really positive note, we had that young kid that came in earlier this week, and it's super cool because we met him at the gym, and he came up and started talking to us, and he wanted to just get his lab work done just to get a baseline idea. And I'm like, dude, that's so smart. We tell so many people that's a great idea. And we see him in there working out all the time, and a young, healthy kid. And we were shocked. He had an amazing testosterone level. His labs looked incredible. And so it was just, that was nice to see, a kid that's out there doing the right things. And it's he's, his body is functioning really well. And he had he had probably one of the best, natural baseline hormone levels we've seen from a young man.
And that goes back to taking it into your own hands and doing preventative measures. So here he is. Now he knows where he's at this age, exactly how he's feeling. Yep. And he's, adding in things like peptides and other vitamins and minerals and stuff to work as tools.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's doing great. So that's cool to see because it's it's refreshing because we see the opposite so much, and it's hard.
Yeah. And I think also a lot of times when people do come to us, when we start talking about optimizing hormones, people think about reversing. Mm-hmm. But it's really more about a quality of life.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a great point because obviously you can't age backwards, and we know that. We say that figuratively a lot. But you're right. It's more about more so slowing down the aging process and thriving as you age, right? Because that's really important because you can age gracefully or not so much, right? And we see we see the latter happen way too often.
Well, I joke about it all the time, and I always say I'm aging backwards, but I truly feel that way.
Yeah.
Because even the last 5-10 years in the past, I felt significantly older than I am.
Me too.
And now I feel so much more vibrant and just strong, mentally, emotionally, physically. In every way. Mm-hmm.
I feel so much better than I did literally all throughout my 30s. And I probably haven't felt as good as I do now since I was, young 20s or early. And it's weird because we talk about, again, doing the working out and nutrition and the hormones and stuff. And I always I've worked out since I was 14 pretty much. I've always ate good. And it's just my 30s, I struggled a lot. And it's once I added in the hormones, and it was boom, everything changed. And that was the missing piece for me, obviously, was getting testosterone and thyroid dialed in. But it's I was doing the other stuff too. And it's that's a good example of if you're not doing the other things and you just get on hormones, you're probably not going to get as good of results as you're anticipating in your head.
Well, yes, the lifestyle definitely is the foundation to it all.
Yeah.
So making sure you're eating properly, you're exercising, you have plenty of water intake, all of that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
After, sleep and stress management and all that kind of stuff, I think it's really important for people to, especially if they've never had their blood work done before, at least to get it done and see where they're at. Because sometimes you don't even know something's going on, and there could be something underlying that you're able to catch.
Yeah, it's the whole preventative versus reactive thing. And we see that a lot in medicine, that it's a lot more reactive, and it's, wait for the disease to happen or wait for the disease to set in before you react and treat it. And it's like, if you're getting lab work done and managing things, and you can catch it before, you can even be preventative. And so it's like with, testosterone, for example, if you're, having signs and symptoms of low testosterone, but your numbers still are, not technically low. It's like most times people will wait until they get to that threshold of like, okay, now I have low testosterone, versus like at that point, you already have a ton of insulin resistance built up. You have a lot more visceral fat. Like you've already declined so much, versus like addressing it when you start feeling like you don't have as much testosterone as your body needs, and just getting ahead of it.
I think that that's great for most people, but for our younger generation too, a lot of times they've never even felt great.
No, I believe that. Like I've been thinking that more and more, like as time goes on, that it's like when we see young kids and talk to them, and there's so many issues, and they're sick all the time. They're constantly getting sick, and they're dealing with different issues. And it does make me wonder, like, if they ever really felt good.
Also, so when talking about some of these peptides for us, like with anti-aging and stuff like that, some of them are really great to use to add in, especially for like gut health and stuff. We talk about the gut being the second brain. And we've seen great results with BPC 157 when taken orally.
Yeah. That's one. I mean, I think consistently we see, if someone's having issues like digestion issues, or, irritable bowel, or just anything like that, a lot of like gut inflammation, we've seen the BPC capsules help a lot with that.
We also see the GLPs helping with that too.
Yeah. I mean, that just goes back to, that's such a bigger tool. I mean, again, the GLPs, like I would recommend that as a first line treatment over.
And we know that it's evidence-based as well. So yesterday we had that phone call with our rep from Quicksilver too, talking about some of the new peptides. And I have never used KPV, but I'm really excited for that one, especially with targeting inflammation. Because that's something that, like, since even removing my breast implants, I've gotten it under control, but it seems like it's still always kind of haunting me.
Yeah.
And
I don't know much about that peptide, honestly. I've come across it. I've never used it personally. I mean, anything that's going to reduce inflammation is great. I mean, that's going to be amazing. And it, going back to what reduces inflammation, and it really is just targeting, visceral fat, insulin resistance, like reducing those things, is going to move the needle more than anything. So like,
but sometimes when people have dealt with, inflammation, autoimmune stuff for so many years, it seems like you can get a lot of things under control with diet, exercise, hormones, but still it's just, it never quite goes away. It's always there in the background.
Yeah.
And so things like this, and just even switching it out, we talk about cycling, like trying different things, I think is really important and very helpful.
Yeah. I think that's, I think with peptides, that is a good kind of general rule of thumb. And I think we see that a lot with just, cycling in them and trying different things out. And they're all like, a lot of these are definitely worth a try. Like if you're someone that, if you want to, spend the money on it, and if you are into like self-experimenting on yourself and doing those kind of things, like, sure. I mean, I try a lot of them.
And we have some peptides that are great for that, but hormones, first and foremost, when it comes to like skin and hair, like thyroid, DHEA,
testosterone, growth hormone. I mean, all of these things, it's kind of like we talked about, you can take care of your skin on the outside, and you can also take care of your skin on the inside too.
Well, there's got to be a reason too why a lot of like our female serums and stuff have estradiol in them. Like that's going to help with collagen, elasticity.
I always think about this in my head because, there's no way to test this, but I always think about, if you take like a man or woman, let's say at 40, they start optimizing all their hormones, right? And then you fast forward to when they're 60 and you look at like where they're at versus if they chose not to do that, like where they would be at. And I think that would be so cool if you could do that, because obviously there's going to be a huge difference in someone's body with like 20 years of time of having like these optimal hormones functioning. And when I think of like men, I think of a 60-year-old man that's had like really great high levels of testosterone that whole time versus someone that hasn't. And it's like, not only is going to be such a difference on like body composition,
quality of life,
muscular and all those kind of things, but just like, I think about their skin and the wrinkles and the way they look. And it's got to make such a huge difference.
Absolutely. We talk about testosterone all the time for like strength and muscle, but it is so important as we age. Like first and foremost is like our muscle mass. We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah. That going back to like, that is the single biggest thing that you can do to help as you age, and to like, it has so many positive health outcomes or health benefits to having, muscle mass, and the testosterone does help significantly with that.
Alongside thyroid and resistance training, like those three right there are going to be extremely helpful for anti-aging and longevity.
It's all, again, it's a lot of it is so much tied back to reducing the visceral fat. And there's, the hormones that reduce visceral fat are testosterone, thyroid, growth hormone, DHEA, and estradiol. And optimizing those hormones makes a huge impact on the visceral fat.
Really, the takeaway from all that is that it's more about aging slowly, preventing things, protecting yourself. When it comes to hair, skin, nails, muscle, like overall getting ahead of it before it's too far.
Yeah. I always think about it when I see people, let's just say, in their 80s, right? And there's some people that can barely even function or get around. And there's other people that are out playing golf or tennis even, or, they're thriving. And it's like, there's, what are these two people doing so differently? And I mean, I know it's an accumulation of just choices you've made throughout your life and your lifestyle and just being active and exercising. And of course there's certain diseases that are, maybe not preventable or, things that happen to people. And that's unfortunate, but it's like, you totally can see the outcome of a life that someone has taken care of their body and continue to move their body versus someone that doesn't.
Yeah. And we do talk about it all the time. It is your job first and foremost to make these choices and changing your lifestyle, because it's not about one thing, like hormones, lifestyle, all the other tools, it works together.
Yeah. I mean, what age do you really notice? Like, if I always think about like people I went to high school with, for example, right? Yeah. And you can kind of see, and even like on Facebook or something, people you haven't talked to for a while, and it's like, you can really tell. But I think probably kind of like mid 30s and on is, I think, when you can kind of really start to tell, like, things catch up to people.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you can go through your 20s and not really work out, especially as a female, like sometimes, and you can still be like in shape or lean, or, you know what I mean? Or because I think that, you can kind of get through your 20s. You can kind of like fake it through to where
some people,
yeah, some people. And that's true. But I've seen plenty of people, and especially like women, you can really not focus a lot, I guess, on the whole exercise component, and you can still kind of get by and
maybe on the exterior, but I feel like
on the exterior, but
no.
But what I'm trying to say is that it's like, I feel like when you kind of hit like your mid 30s and on, like that's when it really starts to show in people, like who's been taking care of themselves and who hasn't.
And sometimes it takes like a wake up call of just like, realizing that you are only declining and getting more and more unhealthy, and your quality of life is just miserable.
Yeah. Well, and as we know too, it takes, the longer you wait and the older you get, the harder it takes to get back to that point.
Yeah. And that goes to like, we live in a society that wants like the instant fix, and they want it done now. And that's hard. Like, I'm constantly telling women, like, you didn't get here overnight, and you're not going to go backwards overnight. You're not going to feel amazing. Like, not only is everybody different, but it takes time, and we have to build these up. And
yeah. And it's like going back to the thing that we talk about, like, building muscle being the most important thing you can do. That also takes the longest.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's, I'm not saying it's easy to lose weight, but you can lose weight relatively fast in comparison to how long it takes you to put on muscle.
And fortunately we have the tools, because if we get somebody on testosterone and if they're on a low dose GLP, we're going to not only help them like lose the weight, but they're going to be gaining muscle if they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. But it's still, I need to be fair in what we tell people, it's still going to take a good 12 months before you start seeing a lot of real progress in terms of like building muscle and body composition changes versus like, losing weight on one of the GLPs or something.
Ultimately, I would just really, really encourage everybody to take their health serious and take that first step if they haven't already, and just work with somebody, get your blood work done. Just kind of see what's going on behind the scenes.
What do you think is reasonable? Like if someone said, what should I budget in a year for my health? What do you think is reasonable to tell someone?
Yeah, I mean, that one's hard because it's all about prioritizing to me. A lot of times when we have people come in, it's like, how much are you spending at the coffee shop? How much are you spending going out to dinners? How much are you spending on DoorDash? Like all these type of alcohol. And it's like, if you put that in front of you and you're like, okay, I could really condense this quite a bit, and everybody's budget looks different. So it's kind of hard to put a number on it. But, you know, we both say, I mean, we spend a lot of money on our health. It's our priority. So it's kind of hard to like put a value on that for every person because everybody's, you know, financial situation looks different. But I would really hone in on what are you spending money on that brings no value, no nutritional health to your life, and what can you take from that to spend over here? I feel it's kind of hard to say.
But. I like the top of my head, I was going to say, I mean, realistically, like $5,000 to $10,000 a year.
Okay. I was going to say like $500 a month. So
that's $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you think about it, and it's not just like, I mean, that's, you know, gym membership, that's supplements, that's, you know, hormones, that's, you know, it's all the things that you're doing, right, to contribute to your health. It's not like spending, you know, $500 a month in just one spot. But I think that it's just kind of like, just to help put it into perspective for people, like it does take, you know, obviously you can exercise for free and that doesn't cost money. Food costs money. You have to prioritizing decisions that you're making and maybe spending a little bit more money on better food, you know, is a financial priority.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just shifting though, like where you're spending money instead of spending it over here, just
exactly.
Like spend it over here and concentrate on this. And we always talk about like taking care of like preventative measures is actually going to save you money in the long run.
Yes. Well, that's where I was going to go with that too, because it's like, I mean, there was a stat that I was reading and it was like the average heart attack is like costs $1 million of care, like over your lifetime, you know, and it's not, I know like insurance pays for things and stuff, but it's like, that's a huge expense.
Not just expense, but like, look what that does to your body.
Well, yeah,
like,
of course. But it's like when people like just put it in perspective of like, you know, there's the old saying of like, you know, spend money on your wellness or spend money on your sickness, right? Like you can spend money up front to prevent these things from happening, or you can spend them on the back end to treat yourself after the disease or whatever has happened.
Well, really, that's what we're paying for every month with our insurance. We're paying for sick care or for something to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So overall, like always, you know, hormones first and foremost with your diet and your exercise, they all work together. There's not just one that's like a fix all. So it's really important to make sure you're dialing in everything and that you get ahead of it before things get too bad. Yeah.
What do you think has made the biggest impact for you in terms of like things that you've taken, right? Whether it be like hormones, supplements, peptides, like what are some of like the big needle movers that you would say?
If I had to like pick two, I would say probably testosterone and one of the GLPs.
Yeah.
I would say those two. I have to put thyroid in there too, but if I had to just pick two, for me, testosterone was a game changer.
Yeah.
And then I'm loving Retatrutide, but I loved Tirzepatide as well, and it seems to make a huge difference overall.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree. I'd say the same. I mean, obviously testosterone is the number one thing for me, but also, you know, right there along with it is thyroid for me, just because of having the Hashimoto's disease. And I dealt for so long, like not having the right treatment and felt terrible even when I was on testosterone. And so just for me, like getting the thyroid dose right. But I would say that's the exception for men. Like generally men don't feel thyroid as much as women do. Like thyroid's much, like women feel it a lot more, kind of like how men feel testosterone. Even though thyroid is super helpful for like your cholesterol profiles and visceral fat and stuff, guys usually don't feel it as much as women do. But the testosterone, growth hormone, the GLPs are huge. I mean, I think those are the big ones for me.
I feel like everything we're doing right now is just completely dialed in, and I love it all.
Yeah. But it's like, notice like neither one of us mentioned any of the, you know, peptides that people talk about. I mean, we
do love them though.
I love them, but they're just not like,
they're not game changer.
This magic bullet that people think they are.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Well, like always, I want to thank you for joining us today. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.